The Connection Show, inspiring hope, health, and healing. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops Live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me as my guest today is Ashley Torian. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Thank you, Jill. Pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, we are so happy you could join in with us. Where are you joining us from today?
From Texas. I'm in Sanger, which is North Texas.
North Texas. Well, we are grateful for everyone from Texas and around the country to be with us today. But before we begin, I'd love to share a message from one of our affiliate sponsors, which is Kimberly Fletcher's foundation called Moms for America. It's an amazing organization that has set up little cottage groups all around the country, helping moms to gather together in community for encouragement, raising their children, and helping each other to know what's going on in the schools today. They are a fabulous organization, and they have a fundraiser this upcoming weekend in Branson, Missouri. So I'm going to show you that flyer right now. It's called the Legacy Awards Gala. It will be at the Chateau on the Lake, a resort and spa center in Branson, Missouri, on Friday, March 24th. There's still limited seats available. And the featured guest is Kirk Cameron, wonderful Kirk Cameron. And the MC will be the amazing Kevin Sorbo's, the movie star Kevin Sorbo's wife, Sam Sorbo, who is an advocate for homeschooling. So they will be there along with our congressional congressman here in Branson, Mark Alfred. So it'll be an amazing event. So join us in Branson, Missouri. And thanks so much. We just want to introduce you to the Connection Show now.
The Connection Show. Inspiring hope, health, healing. Connecting the dots of your story and transforming your life. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds.
Well, welcome back to the show. And Ashley, we would love to get to know you. So if you wouldn't mind taking us on a journey to little Ashley as a little girl, and take us through grammar school, junior high, high school, and up to everything you are today, if we can get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, how fun. How fun. So as a little girl, I loved to be in my body. I was a tumbler and just loved it. I was at home on the mat, and I grew up that way pretty much. But also during that time, I was also a little worrywart. My sister called me worrywart. And there were 5 of us kids. I was second to the youngest. My younger brother is about 6 years younger than me, I believe. And he was the last of the crew. But we are a very close-knit family. We just adore one another, and we are still involved with each other's lives today. It's really fun. And growing up was awesome. I had that close-knit family, parents who supported us, loved us, and went on to college, met my sweetheart there. We have been married for 35 years this year, I believe it is. So and it has been fun. You know, marriage is marriage. It is just, you're with the love of your life. You know, I feel like I've known him since I was 5 years old. I don't know what life is like without my Robert. And we just had a wonderful journey together, both growing, both, you know, how you go through the challenges, but then you come back together, go through challenges again, you come back together. And so I love that about marriage, because you learn so much about who you are, and you learn about that grit that it takes to be with your soulmate, right? The grit that is just, you know, things can get tough, but then they just, you know, if you just wait a little bit, it's going to get okay. And that's when there are 2 people in the relationship who are loving, right? 2 loving people. And we have 2 boys, and they are now in their adult years. And one of them, my youngest, is married, and 2 years ago, we got our sweet little Bellamy. So we have a 2-year-old grandson, and that part of life is just awesome. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then through all that, I became a personal fitness trainer because I love the body, right? I love the body. The human body is fascinating to me. And so that's where my work has been since I was a young girl, and then studied it in college, kinesiology, exercise phys, went into personal fitness training, then eating psychology, mind, body, nutrition, because of some experiences that I personally had and was also witnessing in my clients. And then added in emotional resolution to help people overcome the emotions in their life that sabotage them. And then have just added several other behavioral change elements that will help people overcome their saboteurs. So life is just a journey, and it's fun, and it is definitely what you put into it. That's for sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for taking us on that journey. However, we're all about connecting the dots of story here. And so I always like to take that video that you just gave us, the video story synopsis that took about maybe 5 to 6 minutes max. And I like to rewind that video back to little Ashley again, okay? And I love the saying, codependency in the looking good family. It looks good, it smells good, but where are the skeletons?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that because, again, I only bring that up when someone shares that I grew up in a great family. We had so much love. Everything was wonderful. But I also know that there's legacy burdens that come through families generationally. So if we can take the video back, and again, I only take us on a journey that you're willing to share. So if there's anything that was in that journey that were sabotagers, like you said, and you'd like to share them, again, for the purpose of not condemnation of anyone in our family as much as the similarities is where I find transformation takes place.
Yeah, true transformation. The thing that I love about a family unit is because there is that bond that is strong. In my family, it was strong. It was a strong bond, but there is also the placement, right? You have the oldest, you have the second oldest, you got the middle child, you got the one who thought I was the baby of the family until my younger brother came in, right? But we all have those identifiers, I guess is how you can call them. I'm not going to get very psychological or anything on it, but what I do know is that it's so fun and fascinating to watch us being an adult and looking back on us as kids and how we interacted together, how that placement really does play a role in the behaviors of us, the getting along of us, because we were siblings. Believe me, there were knockdown dragouts. There was a time when my brother made me so mad that I pulled him down the stairs. I mean, it's just like, come on, we're siblings and we have fun, but we also fight. That's just the normal thing of siblings. So, there is, but that element of the placement theory, I mean, there is so much truth to that, so much truth. But mine became a little confusing because I was the baby of the family for years. And then when Landon came along, I was still the baby, and I still had that I guess that placement theory with it. But also when I was doing something in a church group, they said, but you're really kind of a middle child. And I was like, I am not a middle child. I'm not. I may be one of the two middle, but I'm more of the baby than that. So that's always fun to look back on and see. So
what dynamics took place then once he came into the picture? Because he's 6 years younger. So you were 6 years old when you had that attention of being the baby, and now it was displaced. So what do you recall at 6, 7, 8 years old when that took place for yourself?
I love that. Yeah. So the neat thing was I was still with my mom, half a day because kindergarten and stuff. But they came and picked me up. My dad picked me up and he took me by myself up to the hospital. We went and bought my mom a gift. We went to the hospital to see her. It was just me. They were so good about, they really were. I feel so fortunate that they brought that connection between Landon and I. And that's my younger brother. And then when he came home from the hospital, because they were in there a while, he was a 2-month-old preemie. So he was in the hospital for the first week of his life. When they finally brought him home, my mom was really good in how she taught me how to care for him. And so I would hold him, I'd feed him, I got to learn how to change his diapers. So they involved me in the taking care of him so that I felt a real part of him. And he and I have been close our whole lives, other than those little knockdown dragouts that we would have, right? But it was really cool the way that they did that for me, because I know not everyone is that fortunate. And
So then you took on that role of the responsible child because you were the big mommy. You were like Landon's big mommy sister that got to
right.
help to feed him and take care of him and pick him up and stuff. So with your tumbling that you absolutely loved, and in the field of work you're in today, through junior high and through high school and then evolving into college, did you go through then the periods of body image issues as you began to develop as a young girl, and did any disordered eating come into play then, or excessive exercise with body image?
Yes, 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 and yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the evolution of that.
Yeah, yeah. So when I was younger, before fifth grade, fourth grade, I was fine. But then I began, because I love gymnastics so much, mom put me in with the coach, and mom and dad, I guess. And I began going to this coach that worked with people who love gymnastics. And he weighed us every single class. Here I am, fourth and fifth grade, being weighed every single week. And I was the biggest girl in the group. And when I look back on pictures of me, there was no way that I was fat, so to speak, quote unquote. But those other girls were just so real thin. And I just had, meat. I was buff, so to speak. Right. I had the thighs but he just kept telling me, you've got to lose weight, Ashley, you got to lose weight. Well, one time I got the flu and I was out for 7 to 10 days. It was one of those times when it just really knocked me down. I was having 100 and really high fever. And when I came back, I had lost 12 pounds. In about 10 days, I lost 12 pounds of weight. And I remember stepping on that scale and he goes, Ashley, this is perfect. You need to maintain this weight right here. And I thought, oh my word, are you kidding? This is flu weight. This is not Ashley weight. And we didn't eat junk food. My parents did not buy junk food. All my friends got the ding dongs, the Twinkies when those were coming out, the sweet and sugary cereal. Not at our house. The cereals that we chose were Rice Krispies, Cheerios, or shredded wheat. The chips were always corn tortillas chips. It was the Doritos back in the day. We didn't have any snack cakes. If we had sweets, they were homemade. They were homemade cookies. There was ice cream in the house, but that was it. And it was none of the fluffy ice creams. It was vanilla ice cream. And so there was just, it wasn't like I was this kid who gorged myself all the time. I was just a bigger kid, and that's the way he treated it. So from that point on, I became very aware of my body and began not feeling as comfortable in my body as before. It was kind of sad.
So feeling that way, and I myself have recovery and eating disorders, and they say that scales are for fish, not for humans. Scales are on a fish, not to weigh yourself and see it every single day, and the number is just a number. So as you had to continue with these weigh-ins with the 12-pound loss, and then you'd go home to eat. Let's talk a little bit about that journey. So going in, now you just took 12 pounds off. He's congratulating you. So what did food look like then for the weeks on, and what did the weigh-ins look like?
Yeah. What I love about the human mind is that when something is not comfortable for us to remember, it's wiped, right? The cortisol wipes the memory. And so going back to weigh on that, it's so fascinating because I don't recollect anything about that. But I do know that my journey was impacted because then I began micromanaging in late middle school and high school, especially high school. I was over exerciser. I made sure that I didn't overeat. And if I did, I went out and ran immediately. I was in track as well and a cheerleader. So I was always on the stage, the platform, so to speak. So it was always about how did I look? Was my tummy flat? All of that. It was very stressful. But the eating issues for me, I was afraid to eat, is where that came out. And that didn't happen until after college. I actually had my second son, and that's when anxiety just tore through me. And I remember I told you I'd been a worry wart all that time. And that I think through the years of micromanaging everything, it finally just came to a head. And my youngest child was probably 12 months old, and anxiety slammed into me. And then I was able to manage that and then be free of it, so to speak. But what happened in the midst of all of this was I became afraid to eat. I was terrified to eat food that I would die. All of a sudden, this thought just entered my head that if I had anything, and the very first thing food that was pulled for me was apples. I loved apples. I ate them every day. But when I was having anxiety attacks, someone told me, oh my gosh, my coworker just is allergic to apples. She just ate apple pie and all of this, they had to call the ambulance, did it all this kind of stuff. Well, with a person with anxiety, you don't tell them things like that, especially one that has issues with food. Because all of a sudden I became afraid. Oh my gosh, is that going to happen to me when I eat sometime? Da, 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 da. And then pretty soon I couldn't eat apples anymore. And then nuts. And I was a peanut butter fanatic. Then nuts were pulled. And then eventually all of these foods were pulled where I had about 10 foods that I felt safe to eat. And I did not go outside of that. And that lasted for, a many number of years through my late 20s and 30s. Yeah, it was terrifying time for me.
Wow. So do you feel, Ash, and for those listening, that disorder is called ARFID, which stands for Restrictive Avoidance Disorder. And it's actually becoming more and more prevalent even with small children, 2 and 3 years old. If you have children and you introduce them to a food and they go, oh, I don't like that, I don't want to eat it, and then they won't. And then the parents then saying, oh, okay, just take one bite and then you don't have to eat it. From what I've seen, that's almost like the worst thing you can do, because then the kid thinks, okay, mom's telling me I don't have to eat this food. So then they start saying, okay, I'm going to restrict that. And I've seen children where they'll only eat just like, say, chicken nuggets or pizza and won't put any other food in their mouth because of they become so restrictive. So it's actually, it becomes a mental illness. And what people if you don't understand, eating disorders are a mental illness and a deadly disease. So when Ashley, you got into this state that was brought on, you said first with anxiety, the mental illness from that anxiety escalated into the restricting of foods. Is that correct?
I guess, but I had been over the anxiety. I had been rescued from that. I had a beautiful moment, a spiritual moment with God, that all of a sudden those anxiety attacks left, did not have them. And this showed up several years later. And so it was very interesting how that came around for me to address something that had been in my childhood. And in order for me to elevate and continue moving on and growing as an adult, doing what I'm here to do, which I firmly believe I am here to, there's a mission for me and I'm living it. And I am here and called to do that. But before I could really dive into that, I had to go back and address what was going on in my childhood, right? About the obsession with, making sure I looked a certain way and that, only clean food went into my mouth and, just that restriction of eating and over exercising. So I feel like everything just kind of comes back around for us to deal with it. And it's so interesting. I never once felt, back then, when I was in my 30s, there was no label for that. And I'm glad because for me personally, I didn't want to own it. And I feel like when something is labeled this is my journey through, right? This is for me personally. I didn't want to label anything because I didn't want to take ownership of it. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's a visitor and I want it to leave. Whereas if I had taken hold of it and claimed it, I would feel like I would be stuck with it. And I think that's probably just the way my mind works.
Well, and I want to pause. I want to pause there though for a reason. Okay, there's a reason, and I'll take you on this journey. The reason, though, I think it's important, in my opinion, to identify what I want to call the parts, are because I really believe a lot of the parts are good when you recognize them and you connect with the parts and identify why did they come in for a purpose. Because like the part of perfectionism that was coming into you as an adolescent, I have to be the perfect figure, the perfect weight, and so I'm going to eat clean eating, which is now called orthorexia, in order to have the perfect body and image. Those parts come in as protectors and managers for a reason, because something inside of us is going on. And so when I was in treatment for my eating disorder, they actually found that by trying to get rid of the parts, the eating disorder got worse, because the parts played a role to actually keep the patient alive, believe it or not. And so when you can slow it down and actually go to the part and have a dialogue with perfection and say, hey, why are you here? Tell me more about you. And it takes you on that journey to connect the dots that might say, oh, I remember I had to be the perfect tumbler, the perfect student with straight A's. I felt like to get attention, I needed perfection. And so when you take it on that journey, and then you don't try to get rid of it as much as you say, are you willing to unblend from me and maybe go to the beach and I'll give you a lawn chair and you can chill out and have a nice pitcher of ice water. And if I need you again, should I need you again, I'll come to the beach and ask you to come and help me. And so I have found that to be a gentler way than trying to talk to these parts and say, get out of here. I don't need you anymore. Get behind me, perfectionism. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're getting rid of me? Like, come on. I've been with you and I've been helping you and now you just want to abandon me. So I want to just kind of go back to that for a moment. So do you recall in the connecting of your dots, different things that were going on in your life where perfection needed to play a part? I know you said the scale, but were other things going on within yourself where you felt like you needed to be that perfect cheerleader or the perfect tumbler?
It's really a good question. I feel so let me add this. So when I was at the height of that fear, I sought out help from a coach from the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And it's so fun because we did exactly what you were talking about. And it was the script that I did, the conversation I had was with the little girl in me, the one that felt like she had to be perfect. And that was just my, when you're coming down the chute, when you're being born, you come down the chute, you grab all this stuff to bring in, because like, oh, I can take this. Oh, I can take on this. And we bring it into this world. And then it's up to us to work on it because it's part of our journey. And I felt like that symbol of perfectionism and me grabbing hold of that was something I needed to work on within me. And that little girl, for some reason, she felt like she needed to take that on and grab it and bring it into this world in order to resolve it, so to speak. So generationally, it would all be dissolved and it wouldn't be passed on to anyone else. So that was my journey through that. And so speaking to that little girl, whenever I'd go to sit down to eat, her and I would have a conversation. And it was just the most beautiful part of my healing journey, was really getting to know her and also taking the front seat of the adventure and letting her know that she did not need to be in the driver's seat because she was young and she didn't understand what all was transpiring in the world. Whereas I could handle that. I am the adult. I am the strong one. I'm the one that's filled with years of wisdom, and I can handle it. So she can just go play, go over there and play on the side and color, whatever you want to do. And so that was a fun journey through that, and eliminating that need for perfection.
It sounds to me like perfection became the protector and the manager of worry, that your exiled part was worry. And so that exiled part of worry actually, when I've done my work, actually needs the embracing, because worry comes in first. And then layers come in, like the firefighters come in front of worry and says, oh, I'm going to walk around and be joyful. And, oh, I'm going to use my protector of perfection. And then no one will know how worried I really am. Yeah. So the parts are so beautiful. There's a book by Richard Schwartz called All Parts Are Good. And I find that to be a fascinating statement, because I think so many of us go through the majority of our life trying to get rid of the parts. Like, I'm going to get rid of these. And they're like, well, why were they there to start with?
Yeah. Let's work with them first, and then they can be put off to the playground to play together.
Let them unblend and, chill out and go to wherever. So,
That's right.
So you've been on this amazing healing journey, have gone through so much. And so take us now up to the current. You said you become a grandma, and you have a business, and I understand you have a show yourself. What is your show called, and how can people find you on your show?
Yeah. So my show is called Ashley's Heart Song, and it's about getting out of the stress and back into your body, life, and business. And really what the song of your heart is it's your call, your reason for being. Why are you here? I believe every human being, that there's a mission for them. And what is yours? Because when we keep our eye on that and we wake up for that mission every single day, that's our driver. That's what drives us through life. That's what brings life to us. And then everything else, with our food, with our exercise, our relationship with others, our financial life, our business life, all of that just comes into, it just falls in line where it needs to when our eye is on our highest good, right? And why we're here. And that, working through that inspiration, is what I have found to be most beneficial in helping others get out of the muck. I call it a muck puddle. So like the anxiety I was in, the fear of eating that I was in, the perfectionism, the worry, all of that was just this big muck puddle. And I was further than knee deep. I was probably hip deep in it. And it's not about totally ignoring all of that, but it's about really rising up out of it so that you don't have to put your toe in the muck puddle. And the way you rise up out of it is by really connecting, right, to your heart song and being in that rhythm, being in that beat every day, so that you can overcome your challenges. You can face them, you can overcome them, and you cannot give them the control of your life, but your heart song, right, is the leader and director of that. And so that's where that came about, through that. And they can join me on that. On Facebook, I put the link there to join my show every week. And my Facebook, it's Ashley Frederick Torian, and you can follow me there. And that link is provided there. And I don't know if you have that link, Jill, that you could share it when you post this.
I'm gonna show your bio. So I have, yeah, on her bio here, Ashley's, I have her website, which is ashleytorian.com. I have her Win-Win TV show link, and a facebook.com/mind.n.body.fit link. So I have those 3 links here that I can provide to find Ashley. And so that's amazing. And I'm so grateful. Ashley and I met in the Win-Win Women's group, which is both of us being show hosts. My show hasn't started yet. It'll probably start at the end of April, beginning of May. I'm not ready yet. But with everything that Ashley has shared today, and talking about that heart, I want to share with the audience something that which you just shared. The heartbeat is being given to me, and God is giving me this heartbeat right now, Ashley. My company is called Braveheart Workshops, so I have the heart in there, and He's giving me this vision that we as women, we're brought together for such a time as this to be mentors to the young women that are rising up. And so I feel this heart calling of God sharing with me that us women need to rise up with the wisdom and the knowledge that we've been imparted, and start generationally passing that down to our little girls, that are growing up in the country, the tweens, the teens, the college kids. So we are going to minister and to love on them with a heartbeat in Branson, Missouri, August 19th and 20th, for a resilient, brave heart for such a time as this, inspiring hope, health, and healing conference. And so I'm finishing the details of the location, the theater. And once I have that agreement signed, which I'm praying to God it will happen today or tomorrow, we will start putting it on the website for you to register. And the amazing part, Ashley, and I hope, because Texas is so close, we're only 7 hours from Dallas here in Branson, the Sight and Sound Theater just began March 15th, the Esther play here in Branson. So my prayer is that all women will immediately go online and register for the conference. And I say immediately because Esther's selling out 2 months in advance. They'll immediately register, and then I'll have a link to Sight and Sound so you can come in on Friday morning and then go see Esther Friday night, and then come to the conference on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm hoping that all women around the country will come to this. We have room for at least, I think, 1,500. And I just think that we as women need to do this for the young girls today. So I'll let you end with a heart talk on that, because I just feel like my heart is filled with so much joy to give back to these girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what they're experiencing right now is just heartbreaking, because it's almost, I can just see, everything that I was feeling on the inside as that young girl. And now imagine that like exemplified because of the social media and how fast life is moving, right? Everything on the external world is just whirling by. And I feel like these kids are not putting their bare feet in the grass, and running around and slowing down and being that kid with no responsibility and just being carefree. And so something like this sounds so beautiful, because it is a time for them to just let go of what's holding them hostage, and they can just have that weekend of freedom and to learn to be empowered by the story of Esther and then also be inside your community of safety, love, compassion, and so that they can grow and overcome everything that they're meant to overcome. So what a beautiful thing that you're offering. I love that.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
And I pray that you'll be able to come, Ashley, because I just feel such connection with you myself, with that heart soul thing. And there's a special gift that we want to give at this event. So I'm going to say it out loud, but we want to give on the last day. Esther was a fearless, courageous woman of God who was brought into the kingdom for such a time as this to save the Jewish people from death. And so I just keep bawling every time God's telling me about this. And so I feel right now what God's telling me is we need to be those fearless, courageous women that provide a space for such a time as this for these young girls, but also for the forgotten women, of the homeless women, the domestic violence women, the recovered addicts, that people don't bring into their community because they might not look like them. And so my vision is that we will be the eunuchs for this forgotten population, and we'll wash their feet, we'll polish their nails, we'll cut their hair, and we will give them a banquet at this event. And we will show them that they are magnificent, not only from the inside, but out, and that they all are Queen Esthers.
Beautiful. Wow. Wow.
So I'm praying that everyone will grab hold of this vision and will manifest it around the United States and come and let's uphold each other. We need to do this. We need to have that vitality coach, right? Ashley, you're the vitality coach. God bless you for coming on to the show. I know you have to get running. Stay on the line when I end this just for a moment so we could say our goodbyes. But everyone, thanks so much for joining the Connection Show. And again, we look forward to seeing you in Branson, and we'll have that posted soon. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Oh, thank you. I love being here with you, Jill. Thank you.
God bless you, everyone. Bye now. Amari Global is the mental wellness company. In 2018, Amari won the Nutra Award for the world's first award-winning gut-brain axis nutrition system for their flagship product, the Fundamentals Pack, clinically proven to increase good bacteria in the gut and incredible benefits. Amari means love, and there is love in every bottle. Mental health matters, and Amari is the mental wellness company. Prepare your body's gut microbiome for optimized mental wellness with a reboot and get yourself back to feeling joyful and motivated with mood. Round out your daily nutrition with GBX food systems. Crush your daily to-do list each day with Edge. Support your digestion and immune system with digestive, probiotics, omega, and Vita GBX supplements. Fuel your mental edge with our Mental Fitness Pack. Feel like your best self with the Happy Hormone Pack. Unlock your brain's potential with happy neurons with the Happy Mind Pack. And combine these products for an ultimate day with the Happy Juice Pack. For weight loss and energy, order the Transformational Pack. Our Kids Pack is the first comprehensive mental wellness pack for kids and teens. For a complete mind and body nutrition system, get your kids these today. Begin your wellness journey with Amari Starter Pack and save. Start with the Entrepreneur Pack if you're serious about making an impact on your mental, physical, and financial wellness. Launch your Amari business with all our top products, packs, offers, and save. Help others achieve overall wellness too and gain financial wellness. Become a mental wellness partner today. Shop now and save Sign up today by going to our website listed on this page.
Hydrogen is used by health professionals as a powerful antioxidant and the #1 tool to fight inflammation. Studies show therapeutic potential in cancer, diabetes, digestive, and heart issues, and essentially every organ and system in the body. This is not medical advice, because I'm not your doctor, but if you have any health concerns, I strongly recommend that you learn more about hydrogen. Get educated at holyhydrogen.com and order the best hydrogen generator known to man. Use code BRAVEHEART for $100 off your order. Because hydrogen is the smallest molecule in existence, it can pass through the cell membrane and even the blood-brain barrier to clear out inflammation and free radical damage where other antioxidants just can't get to. Visit holyhydrogen.com to see the latest technology that elevates your immune system and fights inflammation. Search their research library to see if hydrogen has a track record for helping a health concern you're dealing with. Make sure to use code BRAVEHEART for $100 off your order. Remember, holyhydrogen.com.
Thank you for joining us on The Connection Show. Our show is made possible by your support. Please go to our website and click on the Affiliate Partners page now. You can support us either on Venmo or our Cash App today. We love our podcast guests and our social media subscribers. Our channels are made possible by you, our listeners. Please go to our website and go to our Contact Us page and click on all our social media pages. Make sure you click the bell on YouTube and subscribe, and the follow us button on Rumble. Our affiliate partners are featured on our show, and we thank you for supporting them and their products. Each of them have fabulous offerings with discounts when you mention Braveheart when you order. Please order today by going to braveheartworkshops.com and clicking on Affiliate Partners.